I went from looking like this at 94 kgs to losing 25 kgs and ended up looking like this at 69 kgs to looking like this now at 80 kgs. I have made a lot of mistakes over the past 4 years of training inconsistently at home as well as the gym, and I have learned a lot from these mistakes, and this is exactly how I bulked, cut and recomp my body in the past and how I'm going to do it now. 2021, I was probably in 10th grade, and at that time I was skinny fat with gyno. That might just be the number one motivation I ever had and will have to work out and to build a body that actually looks good. Up to that point, I didn't give a shit about how I looked. Now all of a sudden, I'm insecure about a lot of things. So because of all that, I started doing home workouts and using those apps for six packs and shit. It never did work, but I used my brain cells and looked up workout routines on YouTube. Started watching videos like the video you're watching right now. Very informative, I hope. And I actually started doing strength training, calisthenics, working out with weights, like with the 7.5 kg dumbbells that I had at home. All I used to do was bicep curls and lateral raises. Since I was just starting, didn't know much about training and how training was supposed to actually look like, but I did follow a bro split at home, which might have not been the best idea that I have gotten in my past years, but at least I'm doing something. And for nutrition, was not it at all. I don't know what N was for nutrition. 2022. At this point, I was still training at home. Training was really getting consistent. I used to even wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work out. Wake up, work out, do my usual, go to school, come back. Crazy. If I didn't do the workout at 5 a.m., I came back and did it at 7 p.m. Crazy times, bro. I was so consistent and yet didn't see the results that I wanted. The nutrition at that time was not the best either. The second half of the year, I had to focus on studying for this exam. JEE. Did nothing but eat, study, sleep, eat, study, sleep, eat, study, sleep, eat, study, sleep for that singular exam, which made me end up looking like this by 2023, which I'm not proud of by any means, but it is what it is. Second half of the year, first year of my college life. This is what ended up happening. I lost 25 kgs in the first semester. From looking like this to looking like this in under a semester. Imagine. I deprived myself of food. No protein, no carbs, no fats, nothing. Skipped breakfast. The lunch, only 3 small chapatis and shit that they gave in mess with no protein. For dinner, there was absolutely nothing good there. Again, 3 chapatis and the shit that they. At that period of time, the first semester, the gym was not the most consistent thing I've been doing. But I did manage to go at least around 3 times a week. That's a little bit of stretch. Less than 3 times a week. So you could imagine the training quality that I had experienced in my first semester. Absolutely nothing. The way that I actually lost all this fat and weight was because of cycling. You have to cycle everywhere inside my campus, and cycling was the only thing that was allowed, and that burned a lot of calories, which was a good thing for me back then. But the workouts were random. There was no plan. All I used to do was bicep curls and lateral raises and leg extensions. Deadlifts. There was a lot of things I did, of course. But then I slowly started learning about working out and the science behind working out. 2024, my first ever year of actually bulking. Even if it was not the best bulk, it was my first bulk. It was right after my first year of college. I went back home for vacation. At that time, I knew protein was really important, and the only thing I prioritized was protein and eating as much as possible because I had lost a lot of weight and I wanted to gain it, but this time, not fat, but muscle. But I didn't know how to bulk at all. I would eat anything and everything, trying to fulfill my protein goals. Even that I didn't do properly. I was not competent at measuring things and the grams of protein I took in every single day. At that time, one of my goals was also to jump higher since I was playing volleyball. So I started doing these plyometric exercises that actually helped, which were actually good for bodyweight exercises and calisthenics that you do at home. I wasn't going to the gym at home for vacation. I worked out at home with a pull-up bar, push-ups, and for legs, doing these plyometrics to increase my power output so that I could jump higher. Now that I think back to it, I could have made a lot of progress if I had joined a gym in that vacation. I could have probably done more and built a lot more muscle and done everything at the same time properly. But that was not the case because I didn't know a lot of things that I know now. This was the dirtiest bulk I have ever done. My physical activity was at an all-time low. Except for the workouts I was doing. I wasn't doing anything else but sleep other than my workouts. So what did I do wrong exactly here? The bulk wasn't planned properly here. I ate whatever I wanted. That's not what you do when you start bulking. Workouts were also not planned. I was doing the absolute bare minimum. Therefore, dirty bulking without a plan is not the plan. Second year of college, still 2024, the second half of the year. This was the third semester. I tried to maintain my bulked weight and just cut slowly, trying to maintain that muscle mass and even build more muscle. At that time, there were two physical activities that I was doing. One was working out at the gym and the other was playing volleyball. The mistake that I did here was not tracking a single workout that semester. All I did was do what came into my head. Even though I thought I was competent at selecting the exercises and choosing the rep range and choosing the weight and doing the workout still failure, I definitely wasn't. I just followed a simple push-pull legs plan about 4 to 5 times a week, even though I planned on 6, and did it whenever I had time. It was random. One thing that I did get right this time was the amount of protein I was taking in. What I did was say fuck you to the mess and bought eggs myself and started cooking it in my hostel room. So basically boiled eggs, Maggie with like 10 eggs put inside it. Crazy shit, dude. Also at one point I cooked chicken, although I didn't know how to, but I did it anyways and ate it. It was one of the best chicken I've eaten in my lifetime. It's because I made it. Basically, that whole semester was my first ever cut, an unofficial cut, where I basically tried to stay at maintenance, but even while trying to stay at maintenance, unfortunately was below maintenance and lost weight and probably lost a lot of muscle because I was not eating much. There was nothing good in the mess. Neither was there protein and neither was there anything that tasted good. At the peak of my bulk at that time, I was like 79 kgs. And I cut down to 74 kgs in like 3 to 4 months or a semester and maintained at 74 kgs. So the next vacation, December of 2024, I finally joined the gym along with my friend back home and started making great progress. My diet was decent. I was eating chicken every day. My stimulus for muscle growth was decent as well, although the planning wasn't the best, but there was still some stimulus that was being given to my muscle to grow. Consistency was there too, except for the times that I get injured. I would take 3 days off or how many ever days I wanted and then start all over again. If there was one thing that I wish I did better, should have tracked the protein I took every single day. I didn't have to track the exact gram to gram, but at least feel the satisfaction in my head that I've crossed 120 grams, 140 grams, or how much ever I needed. That mental assurance. At least take a picture of your food before eating it and ask ChatGPT how many calories it has, how many grams of protein it has, how many grams of carbs and fats. Even doing that would have made a lot of difference in the physique that I have right now. 2025, the 4th semester, I started taking the gym / strength training really seriously and tried intentionally to increase the amount of weight I lift for the first time. I had this craze to max out my back squat. I got to 130 kgs at around 76 kgs body weight. I was really proud of it. Doing all that heavy squats also would indirectly make my legs a lot bigger, which was a plus. Well, it did. But the main thing I learned from this period of time is the importance of progressive overloading. You truly don't know what your failure is. There's a mental block that you don't even realize exists that limits you from pushing and trying to increase your reps or increase your weight from the last time, unless and until you record it down. Consciously try to increase the amount of weight or reps that you do in the gym. So during that period, what I did was bulk from 74 kgs to around 80 kgs. Since I was 80 kgs when I came back to college, I tried to maintain that weight and build muscle and lose fat at the same time, trying to recomp. But unfortunately, because I didn't have enough good food to eat, and my calories were not the best calculated, I lost 3 kgs and went to 77 kgs, which was a respectable amount of weight for me at that time, which was 3 to 4 kgs more than last semester. It might have had some fat, but I was proud of the amount of muscle I was able to build in that time. Basically tried to recomp, but ended up cutting because I did want to lose fat and I didn't think of losing weight as a bad thing. So I lost weight and thought good of it. So what do you learn from this? I learned that when you have your workout, your diet, your sleep, and your mindset with consistency sorted, everything else fits in place like puzzle pieces. There is one more thing I realized. After the first few years of training, it gets a lot harder to pack on that muscle while doing a cut. Really hard to do, especially when you're tall as me. I'm 6'2", and the amount of time it takes me to actually look full and build that muscle is a lot more time that somebody would take if somebody was shorter than me, if you understand. So if you could stay at maintenance or slightly above maintenance, you will have a really easier time than trying to cut and build muscle. So keep that in mind. Doing that will really help you. The end of second year, I look like this. Went back to my new home for vacation, and thankfully I had a setup at home where I could work out without any worry. I had a power rack where I can do my squats, my bench, my deadlift, pull-ups. This period of my life was the period of my life where I was the most consistent with working out. I didn't miss a single day for any reason except getting injured. Unnecessary injuries that could have been avoided if everything was taken care of. For 2 months, I was really consistent. This time, everything was on point. My nutrition, stimulus that I was giving my muscles, my workout, and the sleep I got was really impressive. So basically, I bulked from 77 kgs to 82 kgs in 2 months. That's a difference of 5 kgs. I would consider it a dirty bulk, but a bulk that is somewhere in between a clean and a dirty bulk. Much better than the bulk I did before, that's for sure. Which brings up to my current state. I'm back at college right now, in my hostel room. I know it looks messy. Nothing I can do about it. It's the room that I was given, and this is the shit you get to see in the background because of it. Currently cutting really slow, trying to gain muscle at the same time while staying as close to maintenance as possible and build that muscle. Currently I'm 79 kgs now, dropped 3 kgs already, and my plan is to cut to around 76 kgs. I really want to get to that 12% body fat mark, and I think at 76 kgs of body weight, I'll be at that 12% body fat, looking the most aesthetic I will be ever looking. The plan is to get myself to a body fat that I'm satisfied with looking at the mirror every single day. That's why I'm cutting down to 12% to set a new baseline of body fat percentage, and then I will start lean bulking from there on. And that is exactly how I would be approaching bulking, cutting, or recomping at any stage of your lifting journey. Get to a body fat that you're comfortable with while building that muscle. So for example, when I was 94 kgs, instead of just cutting the fat and not doing any exercises for my muscles to grow bigger, you could start doing more exercises so that when you cut off all that fat, the muscle shows, and there is actually muscle in your frame that you can show off instead of having only skin and bones. And after getting to that certain body fat percentage you're comfortable with, then you start bulking up to the point you start noticing visible fat and your abs starts to fade. And what you do then is get back down and repeat all this process all over again. By bulking, I always mean lean bulking, not dirty bulking, because dirty bulking is not the right bulking. Lean bulking is where it's at. By doing this lean bulk, you will be packing on the most amount of muscle while keeping the fat increase at a minimum. If you're not too sure about how you should work out, the split that you should follow, the diet plan that you should follow, or what you should consume, or anything fitness related, apply for my coaching. You're going to get a lot of value one-on-one by yours truly. Believe me, I can really help you. There are limited seats, so apply as soon as possible to get that seat. There's nothing more I wanted when I was younger, trying to build myself up, than a person who is a step above me in the same path I want to go in. I swear to God, I'll make you see results a lot faster than you doing it by yourself, because I have been through it, my friend, and I don't want you to be stuck in the same process, not making progress. I will help you make progress. Apply for my coaching. Like this video if you liked it. Comment something nice down below. Subscribe. Getting to 1,000 subscribers would be really nice. Will be one of my childhood dreams, in fact. Would be nice. And at one point, 1 million will be in reach. Trust me, bro. Subscribe right now. Be the OG. That's pretty much it, bro. Hope you found some value in this video. See you.